Hi, I'm Sapna. I'm with the International Myeloma Foundation. Today, I'm talking with IMF President and CEO Yelik Baru, who is also a 28-year myeloma patient. I'm also speaking with IMF Chief Medical Officer Dr. Joseph McHale and IMF Vice President of Development Silvia D'Souza. Today, we're discussing the IMF's upcoming Iceland Cycling Expedition, or ICE. The Iceland Cycling Expedition, or ICE, is a fundraising bike tour that will take place in the beautiful country of Iceland with a team of 12 cyclists from August 29th of this year to September 3rd. The cyclists who are taking part in ICE include healthcare practitioners, patients, and care partners. Dr. McHale will be one of those cyclists. Yelik and Silvia will be on the trail with these cyclists, following them close behind in a support vehicle with safety gear. The ICE fundraiser will raise money for the IMF's Black Swan Research Initiative, including the iStopMM research project in Iceland. To start off, beginning with Dr. McHale, if you could describe for me, in the simplest terms, what is the purpose of the IMF's project in Iceland, known as iStopMM?
Oh, thanks, Sapna. It's a privilege to be able to talk about this fantastic trial. The title of it actually gives most of it away. iStopMM, of course, is an acronym for Iceland Screens, Treats, or Prevents Multiple Myeloma. And by now screening nearly 90,000 people across the country of Iceland, we can start to answer the questions that we desperately want to know. How common is myeloma and its precursors? How closely should we follow people when we do find something that may predict multiple myeloma? And particularly importantly, what potentially causes myeloma and can we prevent it? With Iceland being such an incredible medical system where we can capture not only the blood from these patients that have volunteered and consented to be on the trial, but with their medical system, we can learn all the complexities of all of these individuals who test positive for the myeloma precursor known as MGUS, or monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance. And Iceland is a unique place where more people have had their whole genome sequenced than any country in the world. So we hope this will help us unlock some of the mysteries of why people develop multiple myeloma. Are there people that are particularly predisposed genetically to getting to multiple myeloma? And is there a way to potentially figure out how we could prevent the disease?
Excellent. I'm going to continue with Yelik here. From your perspective as part of the leadership of the IMF, and from the perspective as a patient who's been living with myeloma for 28 years, what is so crucial about the IMF funding research projects like iStopMM and other projects from the Black Swan Research Initiative?
Thank you for that question, Sapna. It really is very difficult to separate my persona as a myeloma patient and my persona as a leader at the IMF. And so I will answer as best as I can both questions. So as a myeloma patient, knowing that the IMF is funding groundbreaking research in the most impactful way gives me really immense hope. The prospect of improved treatment outcomes, reduced treatment burdens and/or side effects, and the potential cure is incredibly motivating. From an IMF perspective, ICE's fundraising efforts are directly aligned with our research strategy, which is focusing on early diagnosis, high-quality care, timely access to new treatments, and most importantly, or as importantly, strategic collaboration. So ICE is funding iStopMM and the Black Swan Research Initiatives, which are really squarely aligned and support our strategic vision for research within the IMF.
Great. And so now a question for Silvia. Silvia, the Iceland Cycling Expedition was coined and developed by you and your fundraising team's fundraising and organizational efforts. Like I said earlier, healthcare practitioners like Dr. McHale and others will be riding alongside multiple myeloma patients and care partners for this fundraiser. On a larger scale, what does a cycling expedition like this mean for the myeloma community?
That's a great question, Sapna. From the moment we visualized and conceptualized, ICE, we figured that when a myeloma patient is first diagnosed with myeloma, it becomes a question of mortality. How long am I going to live? Irrespective of your socioeconomic background or where you come from, where you're going, where you have been, it is a debilitating disease, right? They're fighting physically, emotionally, mentally to just survive. So to give these patients, care partners, our myeloma clinicians an opportunity to do an adventure of a lifetime where they are not only doing something for themselves, proving to themselves, gosh, I was given 6 months to live, and here I am getting on a bike, pedaling across Iceland to find a cure for myeloma so that I can live, I can see my children, I can see my grandchildren. But 35, 37, hundreds of thousands of myeloma patients can be in this journey with me. They're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for the entire myeloma community. The passion, the grit, the determination that we have seen since the time we have launched ICE in the faces, in the experiences, in the training of our myeloma patients has just been extremely exhilarating and gratifying for us.
Excellent. And Dr. Mikhail is going to be one of those cyclists. So hopefully he'll be just demonstrating some grit as well. So we have a question for you, and is how are you preparing for the ride as far as training and lifestyle adjustments?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's a great motivation to be able to do this for the patients, for the IMF, for this amazing purpose. You know, I'm a runner typically, and I like to run several times a week. What I've come to learn over the last few months is cycling is very different than running. So what am I doing, Sapna? I'm getting my backside onto a bike as much as I can, whether it's my bike at home when I'm at home. We do a lot of travel at the IMF. We are the International Myeloma Foundation. Thankfully, I found that almost every hotel I go to does have a stationary bike. And so I've been sitting on a lot of stationary bikes over the last few months and training my legs, my heart to be ready for this expedition. And I'm very excited because the other part of the preparation that Sylvia has facilitated is a beautiful camaraderie with the others who are going to be cycling. We share our training stories. We share by text, by sometimes in person when we get to see each other, the excitement that we know we're going to experience there, the anticipation of being in Iceland together. It's going to be a physical challenge, but we know it's going to be absolutely worth it.
Speaking of that camaraderie, all of you are going to be part of this expedition. And Sylvia, I know you will especially be cheering on from that support vehicle. And when you all finish the expedition and get to the end of the ride, how do you think you might celebrate your accomplishments with the team?
I think we are going to reach each and every patient, clinician, and their care partner individually. We're going to give them a pat on the back and say, damn, you did it. Did you think you were going to be able to do this? And also collectively as a group, because this is not only an individual accomplishment, but it's also a collective accomplishment for us. Iceland, just, like anybody thinks or doesn't think, it's a very interesting terrain, just like the journey of a myeloma patient, right? You have very high days, you have very low days. Iceland is exactly like that. When you anything and everything that you experience, you're either amazed by the grotesqueness of it because of the lava fields and how nature can be brutal and that you have no control over it, yet you can be in a terrain and a landscape that amazes you. It is very akin to what a myeloma patient goes through in their journey. They can have moments of, oh my gosh, I think I'm so close to conquering this, to, oh my goodness, I don't think I'm ever going to make out of this. So I think we are going to capture all those sentiments, emotions. The fact that, we were just able to do this itself is an accomplishment, and we will celebrate that sentiment.
Does anyone else have anything to add?
I think one thing I will add is ICE's objective and the beauty of Iceland and Icelanders' symbiotic relationship with nature mirrors our hope for myeloma patients. Just that the island thrives in harmony with its environment, we envision a world where myeloma patients live life fully unburdened by their disease. And our cycling expedition is really a physical manifestation of this hope, a journey towards a future where myeloma is no longer a life-defining event.
I would just add that, it's a privilege for me as a myeloma doctor, one, to have a boss who's a myeloma patient, but also to be cycling with patients as well. To have that kind of team effort. Myeloma is a team sport and will always be a team sport as we work together with patients, with their partners, with our scientists, with industry, with our nurses, with our pharmacists, our social workers, so many others. So it really is reflective of the team approach, and I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun. I'm probably going to look forward to a good nap at the end of it as well, but I know it's going to be a blast.
Sabna, I will add, this is a group that is extremely close and interconnected to one another. They are fun. They meet each other at various events, activities, whether as part of the myeloma community or externally as well. So one of the challenges I have had is to ensure that they're training, because they have no idea what is ahead of them right now. So one of the things I have been asked, diplomatically as possible, telling them is to cut down on sugar and alcohol, right? Ensure that their cardiovascular fitness is really high. So I have made plans, but this is a surprise, that on the last day when we are finishing up our dinner, there will be a champagne toast, to celebrate our success.
That's awesome. And in solidarity with you, I will also cut back on sugar. I'm not much of an alcohol drinker, but I will cut back on sugar as we move forward toward this ride. So thank you all so much for your time today.